Could you talk us and our listeners a little bit through then your maybe thought process, maybe your research, maybe the conversations that you had with people once you started, having these inclination to lean more into the healing world, lean more into the energetics. What were maybe the initial resistance? What was the inner voice telling you? And how did you then overcome to really lean fully into these paths?
hmm Moving into the healing arts, it was always something my entire life that I had a connection to. And then as I was leaving high school, going into the adult life, college, um, learning different things, you learned that it wasn't acceptable, really. And according, my parents, they did not understand any of it. So, of course, that was not a place that I would speak about it. And I started studying slowly but surely. And my first husband thought all of that was snake oil, so to speak. So even going to a chiropractor after I spun out on some um, solid ice, black ice once and hit my car, my body took the impact. And so I was going to a chiropractor and a massage therapist to realign. And he even thought that that was snake oil because I should just go to the doctor and get some cortisone shots and be fine. And so I knew we were going to be in trouble then. And so, but I was still studying and I was still doing what I was doing. The real catalyst in that for moving into it was when I had my children because my son would say, Mom, there's purple and gold going down your back. And my daughter, when she was 2, was looking at her hands and telling me they were glowing green. And I'm like, something's up. I need to go investigate. I need to go learn. So that kept me prompting learning because I wanted to understand what my children came here with. And so slowly but surely, I started reading cards. I started moving into it. I started taking some classes. Meanwhile, while running of the financial firm, I had 4 offices in 3 states. I traveled between those 3 states by car every week. And that opened up that opportunity because I was busy with children, work, studying, and all of that, that he did what he decided to do. And that ended our marriage. But yet I continued in the healing arts and felt completely free. So I don't know that I really had conversations with other people outside of myself and the new people coming into my life. Making the decision to fully move into it really came from that spiritual relationship that I had with another person who attempted to take my life only because I knew that there was something greater, and it was that energy that actually saved my life. And then his ended. And then I just knew that I made a promise to myself and to the universe, to God, to Creator, that if my children and I were kept safe from this situation, I would dedicate my life to the healing arts. And I did from that moment forward. And my life has unfolded then. So it really came out of a worldly promise.
Thank you for for sharing your story and your experiences with us and allowing us a glimpse into who you are and into your life. But one of the things that I'm interested in, and I'm sure some of our listeners would maybe want a bit more of an explanation, is when you say healing arts, can you break that down a little bit? Because some of these words might be well known, but they can also be misinterpreted in different ways. And of course, we have a very international audience. So I just want some clarity on what you mean by healing arts and what that means for you, just to get a clearer understanding. And you mentioned energy and cards. Can you dig a little bit deeper into
Yes.
that just
Yes.
to clear it up so that nobody's confused or misunderstanding, not intentionally, but just through just having a better understanding of what it is that you do and the experiences to help our listeners, maybe help them to move forward a little bit and maybe start digging in an area that they might not have thought of.
Yes, absolutely. The healing arts to me really blends with science and quantum physics. So the metaphysical world. the quantum physics world because it's everything that's in the unseen world. And in the unseen world, we have energy, vibration, and frequency. So Albert Einstein said that the future of all medicine is going to be the medicine of frequency. And Nikola Tesla was like, well, if you want to know the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, vibration, and frequency. So to me, the healing arts denotes energy, vibration, and frequency. Now we see that in a lot of different ways. So the level I work on is completely in the unseen world. When we're doing reprogramming, because I'm using quantum physics, we're using how the energy works. You can take a cell, put one in Europe, take another cell, put in from the same person, put it in America, traumatize one, the other one is going to show that it was also traumatized. How does that work? We're all connected energetically that way. And so I work on that level. When we talk about cards, like oracle cards, maybe they're tarot cards, pendulums, singing sound bowls, each of them have an energy, vibration, and frequency. So with sound tuning forks, sound bowls, music, all of that, it's the sound coming into form through the instrument. There's light therapy, that's another vibration and frequency. There's, the red light therapy, there's crystal light beds. And then we keep breaking it back down with the cards, pendulums, and things of that. It's the energy in form. So the unseen energy comes into a form and it gives us a base to read it. So using a pendulum, you can read energy through a pendulum as it moves. But when you look at it, because you know what direction it is, what it's saying to you, it's coming off the energy. So it gives you a way to see the energy. Oracle cards gives you a way to see the energy of the card that you turned over. So you have the ability to read it until you can just read without using the tools. Essential oils is another one that a lot of people use. Homeopathy. So we have all of these different tools that we use to read the energy from the unseen world. So to me, all of those things are the healing arts. And there's so many more things that I've left out. There's many different ways to express it as well. So on the Western side, we might have the emotional freedom technique. We might have tapping. We might have theta healing. And then there's all the different variations. There's the Reiki, where we're transferring energy through from one person to another. There's craniosacral. And in the Eastern world, they do the same thing, but they have different terms, different words, and different ways of expressing it. So they might call it yogic healing. You have the two hands, but at the same time, they're like, but it's not Reiki. It's different. And it's different because we're in a transcendental meditation when that's happened, whereas in Reiki, you might have thoughts. So there's variations of everything, but it always comes back to one source. It always comes back to a vibration and energy and a frequency, which to me is a pure energetic, unconditional love, a pure energy before it becomes anything else into the universe.
That's such a great way that you've explained it. And it's also a way that because it's frequency and you can't see it, it can also be really listening to yourself. Because I know when you doing a pendulum, it's your energy. You can ask a pendulum a question
Mhm.
and you've already programmed the pendulum, for the yes and no and maybe answers. It's going to do it. And it's a way that you start to listen to yourself as well. Because when you're working with energy, it's the honest answers instead of what the mind is saying. No, but I've got to do it
Mhm.
like this. But your honest answer from the heart or the gut or your energy is saying, no, we've got to go this way. We've got to do it this way. And this is why the energy is such a beautiful way to help us to heal or find answers or to connect with the universe around us because it is all energy. I mean, the plants have their own energies. Everything has an energy around it, and we are part of that. We might be this physical form, with blood and goo and all sorts inside us, but we also an energetic form. And this is one thing that I love about, the quantum physics and just getting in touch with that energy. And like you say, you can't see it. So it's not like, you can have a pill and you can swallow it and you feel it, you felt it in your hand, you can feel you swallowing it, but it's not the same as when you're getting Reiki because
Mhm.
you're literally just lying on a couch doing nothing. And it can sometimes make you question, hang on, is anything happening? Because I'm not feeling anything. But it is happening because it's energetic. And I love how you've really explained the different energies and the different ways of doing things. And I've heard sound bowls and they are amazing to listen to. And you have all these different I don't know what, like, symbols that you can hit and they make these vibrational noises, and they all just create different energies. And I also know when you're trying to clear a negative energy in a room, you can hit these, I call them symbols, but they're sort of round things on a bit of leather,
Mhm.
and they just make these noises, or you get two that you can clonk together, or you can do with crystals. I mean, you can do it with loads of different things, and it shifts an energy in a room. And you can also do it with smells, like you said, incense, or even yeah, incense sticks or essential oils or sprays. There's so many different ways of doing things, and placing crystals in different areas and different crystals. When you go into a crystal shop, you're attracted to certain crystals, and somebody
Mhm.
else will be attracted to something else. And you think, what the hell? Why is that one appealing to you and not to me? But it's
Mhm.
that energy, that almost that communication that you can't see, but it's happening
Yes.
all around us. And I think that's where it's so important to allow the brain to just step back, shush up, and get out of the way so that you are guided to why something appeals to you. Sound. Certain sounds appeal to some people and not to somebody else. Like I said, the crystals, it's an instinctual or a gut reaction to the way that something
Mhm.
feels and sounds like or looks like, or whatever it is, but you can't necessarily pinpoint what it is because it's energy. It's
It
just
is. It is.
there.
You're absolutely right there. And we're reading it on a subconscious level. And we all do it. Think about walking through the grocery store and you walk by somebody and you know if you want to be next to them or if you want to just pass them by and keep on going because you read their energy. If you're going down to your sales meeting at the office, you know if it's going to be a happy meeting or a not so happy meeting. Why? We feel the energy. We can see the energy. We experience the energy. And for us humans, we call it emotion. So you're absolutely right. And it's just a way to translate that into the seen world.
I think one of the ways that we can see it, so to speak, is if you yawn. It's always interesting to see who yawns around you, or if somebody else is yawning, do you feel you need to yawn, or is there nothing happening? And there's that connection there because
Hmm.
a yawn can be contagious. And it's something I've been noticing over the last few months is when I see somebody yawning, do I feel a connection that hey, I got a yawn now as well? Or
Right?
am I just like, okay, you must be tired or something, but there's nothing happening? And likewise, when I yawn, I'm always interested to see who else yawns straight after me. And I'm finding that really interesting because that you can physically see if somebody's
Hmm.
yawning, and you can almost feel then a connection. And sometimes it's like, why the hell am I connected to you? I don't necessarily know you, but it's energetic connection. We have connections with people. We don't know who they are, but our energies know, or our spirits know. There is a connection there. We don't necessarily know what that connection is. And I find that yawning is a great way to see who am I connected with and who aren't I connected with.
Hmm.
And that's a way that we can actually see it.
Yes. And it's the same with everything when someone catches a cold and then somebody else has the cold, or it's the flu, or who has it and who doesn't, and who resonates with it. And who repels it? I don't remember the last time I was sick because I don't connect to those energies anymore. Viruses relate to the energy of unworthiness. What are you not worthy of? And so when you get triggered that way and the cold comes on, now when we have the symptoms, that's your body detoxifying from everything that you just went through on an emotional level and you don't even know it. So, yes, I 100% agree because if you don't resonate with that belief or the unworthiness issue, you won't be sick. So what happens is unworthiness has a frequency here. And as a healer, you stay up here in a higher frequency. And so this just passes through because it doesn't dock. If I came down and matched it, and it matched the unworthiness, I would get sick. And a lot of times there's some genetic beliefs around it as well. So if you had children, my children got a cold from school, now they're home, now I have a cold. Well, as moms, because we're caretakers and nurturers, we want to take on the affliction for the child so the child doesn't have it. Now both of you are sick. Now you can't really do that. I mean, you can take it and share it, but the child is still going to learn from it as well. So you don't ever really fully take it. So there's some genetic beliefs around there. There's some shamanic beliefs around there because in tribal communities, we all came from tribal communities if you go back far enough in time. And then there was always a medicine man or a shaman. They would actually physically take on the affliction from the person and then they would go transmute it themselves. And that's not the time we live in today. So there's a lot of different energies and beliefs and connections to why we do those things. But when you unravel all of that, there's no reason to get sick. I travel all over the world, everywhere. If I had told you my crazy travel schedule, you guys would just be like, whoa. And yet I'm around so many people and so many people in the airports, and yet I have a very strong immune system because I just don't resonate on that belief system. Because as a healer, it's my job to elevate you up higher, not meet you where you're at.